What's up, everyone? Aaron Nagler here, PackersNews.com, live on Facebook. Today, I got the question. You guys ask questions every day. Today, I got a question. We're a bit, away from the start of training camp, roughly a month. The off-season has come and gone as it was. Free agency, the draft, OTAs, minicamp, etc. Now there's a big break. And so with a bit of time on our hands, I thought I'd ask you guys a question. What is your biggest worry when it comes to the Green Bay Packers heading into the 2018 regular season? Obviously, I think we'll probably coalesce on a few subjects, but I thought I'd throw it out there, seeing as there's no news, the Packers are on break, and there ain't a whole heck of a lot else to talk about. I love it when someone says, yay, first comment, and they're not the first comment. That's always a joy. Pass protection. Oh, that's a big subject, but understandable, especially in an offense that traditionally likes to not give a lot of help to that starting five. The right side of the line undoubtedly causing some trepidation, maybe sleepless nights for Packers fans. I'm here to tell you, I've been saying it all summer, but I will say it again. Justin McCray is more than capable to step in at right guard. Now, right tackle, that is a legit concern, especially since we don't really know where Brian Bulaga is in his return from the ACL injury he suffered late last year. The signing of Byron Bell would certainly tell you that they are hedging their bets. I know Bob McGinn, a couple weeks ago, or about a month or so ago, reported that the Packers had asked Brian Bulaga to take a pay cut, and he had declined. One can certainly think about connecting the dots between that report and Byron Bell's signing. So that is a legitimate concern when it comes to keeping Aaron Rodgers upright. Obviously, number one, we all saw how the team fell apart last year in his absence. That said, don't forget the Packers went 15-1 with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback and Marshall Newhouse at left tackle, and I'm not going to say a sieve of a line, but certainly not a line that is that plays at the level that this one has, with its nominal starters and David Bakhtiari, Lane Taylor, and Corey Linsley all in place. So while I understand the concern, Aaron Rodgers can make it work. We've seen him do it time and time again. We just have to make sure he doesn't roll to his right. Signed T.O. I saw that Terrell Owens ran a 4.43 at his age. Are you crazy? What else could I be worried about? As always, it's the defense. That's a reasonable worry, I would say. I think Mike Pettine was an excellent hire. I think they've gone a ways on the defensive side of the ball when it comes to personnel. I think some of the additions, such as Muhammad Wilkerson and the late draft picks, will certainly help. Obviously, the secondary will be bolstered early on with Jair Alexander and Josh Jackson. We have to see how they look in pads, but it's a legit concern until we see them take the field and do some hitting and actually try and stop people. As Mike Pettine pointed out, it's the honeymoon phase. They haven't given up a yard or allowed a point yet. So I will only offer this. As I said on the night he got hired, I think Mike Pettine is a significant upgrade from Dom Capers. His time away from the game should only have served him well. I will definitely be looking at that side of the ball more closely than the offensive side of the ball when training camp opens up, simply because I think there's a lot more unknown over there. What game are you excited to see, Eduardo? That's a good question. I think the obvious one is Packers Patriots. Anytime you can see two greats at quarterback compete, it's always fun. I'm also interested to see how the Packers' new fangled defense handles the LA Rams offense, because I think that could give them some real trouble. My biggest worry, offensive complacency. That's interesting, Al. Especially considering all the changes on that side of the ball when it comes to the reimagining of the playbook and bringing in Joe Philbin. Now, I understand Mike McCarthy's still there. It is still his offense. Still with the same quarterback and system that they've had in place for some time. But I think this is the one year you don't have to worry about that, or at least not to maybe the level that it would have been expected in years prior. But I certainly understand not wanting to see this, the drop back, no one's open, run around and try and make something happen version of the offense, which seems to creep into the lexicon every couple weeks in Green Bay. Do you think the Packers are playing in Europe next season? Yes, I do. I think they will probably play the Chargers in London in 2019. Bummed I didn't see you at minicamp. I wasn't at minicamp, so don't worry about it. But I'll be there all throughout training camp, so take a look. Biggest worry is depending on the young corners. I very much hear where you're coming from there. I think those guys will take their lumps early on. As I said on Friday, a lot on defense I think will come with how the secondary gels and who, A, who wins the starting jobs and who gets the most playing time, and then B, how they kind of coalesce as the year goes on. They're going to take their lumps early. There's no doubt about that. Jair Alexander is not going to step on a football field and just absolutely shut people down. Neither is Josh Jackson. But if they can start, well and continue to improve, that's about all you can ask for. And I think that will go a long way to determining how they fare on defense, because I think they'll be strong up front. I think their front seven is good, if not very good. I think Mike Pettine is an excellent coach. A lot will depend on what happens in that secondary. How did the Eagles convert a 4th and 26? I still can't wrap my head around it. Well, let me remind you of this, sir. No one talks about this because it's in the past. It doesn't really matter, and it's not on the 4th and 26 play. In and of itself is bad enough, but what's even worse, and that no one remembers, or at least no one seemingly remembers because it never gets mentioned, is Mike Sherman took a timeout before that play. It's 4th and 26. You've got him on the ropes, and Sherman calls the timeout to try and get them all aligned and make sure that 4th and 26 doesn't happen. I mean, that's just mind-blowing. And then, Sharper plays too deep, Barnett plays too shallow, etc., and then the rest of it happens. Do they do anything more at wide receiver? I tend to doubt it, barring injury. Now, that first flush of camp always comes up, and there's always injuries. Maybe if someone goes down, they feel they need a little depth. Maybe they make a call to someone, not saying any names, but maybe the initials are Des Bryant, but I tend to doubt it. Injuries are always my biggest concern. John, they can't be controlled, but I understand you. Sherman is so bad he's coaching high school. That is incorrect. He's not coaching high school anymore. He's coaching in the CFL. Backup slot receiver. That's a legitimate question / concern. I tend to think Ty Montgomery will get a number of opportunities to do some of the stuff they asked Randall Cobb to do. Any chance of a career revive of Rollins at safety? I think it makes a lot of sense, and I do know there are people in the building who think it's a good idea. Now, whether they're going to go that route or not, sure, didn't seem to be any indications of that during the offseason, but we'll see what happens when they put the pads on late July. Can the offense convert in the red zone? Corey, I certainly hope so, with the likes of Jimmy Graham, Randall Cobb, Mercedes Lewis, the guys at running back. I mean, they've got a squad, and not to mention Devontae Adams and his leaping ability. I mean, there's a whole lot to work with there. Aaron Rodgers has a bit of an embarrassment of riches. Let's see, what wide receiver outside of Adams and Cobb is making a name for himself so far? I think it's boring, but I think Geronimo Allison. It's a bit of a chalk answer, but. He knows the offense. He knows where to be. 12 trusts him. He's head and shoulders above the young guys at this point. I think HaHa becomes the leader we expected him to be, and he earns his next contract. Thoughts? My thoughts are I am very curious to see how that plays out. He's obviously read the criticism, and he's obviously irked by it, so to speak. But yeah, I'm interested to see how it plays out. Can Philbin and Pettine overcome McCarthy's stubbornness? Well, we've seen Philbin do it before. Philbin has helped McCarthy in that regard. And I think, for the most part, Mike McCarthy will let Mike Pettine do what he's supposed to do and just kind of be a little bit hands-off. I'm not saying he's not going to, have his regular purview of the defense as the head coach, but I do think that will be Pettine's baby. And if that is the case, I think, Pettine should have a good go of it. Will Mike McCarthy continue to take those before the half defensive timeouts to, quote, get the ball back? Here's the thing, James. Here's my thing on that. I've said this the entire time these have been going on, and people have been grumbling about them, and I understand why people grumble about them. I think they're hilarious at this point because you know they're coming, and then you know everyone's going to grumble about them. But here's the thing. Football, in and of itself, like if you go back and you look through the annals of football history, that idea makes sense. You want to take the timeout, you want to give your defense an opportunity to get off the field, and the offense to get the ball back, especially when you have Aaron Rodgers. I get all of that. Like, I understand it in principle. And I get that Mike McCarthy is going to fall on that sword till the day he dies. Okay, so I get all that. But what I always say, and no one cares what I say because I'm just a dude on a video on his phone here, but, you know, coach the team you have. You got to third down or whatever. Hold on. I'm going to tell my wife I'm on live here. Hi, honey, I'm on Facebook Live. Can I call you back? It's okay. All right, babe. Have a good workout. Love you. Sorry about that. So yeah, coach the team you have. You know that you can get off, you can stop them on first and second down, but you have historically, throughout the years, as every time you've done this, you have this atrocious third down defense, this god-awful secondary. Coach the team you have, not the team you wish you had. That's always been my thing with it. Like, I get it. I get why you're doing it. But it doesn't make a whole lot of sense at this point. We've got enough evidence to show you the team is going to let you down on third down. Flaunting your fit wife. Hey, man. You got a wife who does CrossFit and you sit at home drinking beer and chilling, playing Madden or whatever. She's my pride and joy. What am I going to say? I'm worried about injuries, especially during this midseason. Yeah, injuries are always going to be part of football. You're always going to be part of your team, but I understand being worried about them. Is Rodgers' extension coming soon? I would tend to think right before the start of camp. I've said that all along, and I'm going to stick with it. Do you miss Dom? No. That call with your wife was so staged. I wish it was. That would have been a great idea. What type of defense will the Packers play? Zone, cover two, blitz? They will definitely play a lot of different coverages, a lot of different fronts. Mike Pettine, throughout his career, has had a whole lot of versatility and a whole lot of game planning for each specific opponent from week to week. While Capers did some of that, a lot of his stuff was based around his zone blitz principles. Whereas Mike Pettine, well, he runs a traditional 3-4, so to speak. He has not been afraid to, throw out a four-man front. He will play a lot of man coverage. He'll play a lot of disruption at the line of scrimmage if the guys are comfortable with it, if he thinks they're good at it. He's not afraid to throw out some cover one there, but he'll mix it up a lot. What's up with Winston Moss? I wish I knew, man. It's a great mystery. Rodgers bears further responsibility than meets the eye with that new contract of his. Maybe. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We only know what he says in public, and of course he never really talks about it. He always kind of says that's what my agent's for, and that is true. But yeah, obviously Rodgers is part of it, and as he should be. Will Eric Reed get signed? Freddie, I think so. I doubt it'll be by the Packers, though. Are the defensive players smart enough to run a lot of formations? Absolutely. Zero question. Is Winston Moss in a better mood this week? Mike, I hope so. He's on vacation. King, Alexander, or Jackson, best young cornerback? Jordan, ask me again. Give me 10 days of camp, and then I'll let you know. Hi from Germany. What's up? Sorry about your loss in the World Cup the other day. What about England? Sorry, had to be done. Over under on Mo Wilkerson flipping off the Lambeau crowd. That's outstanding. Rodgers this year's 40 TDs over under. Give me the over. Getting pressure on the QB is my biggest worry. Hope Pettine fixes that. Yeah, I'm excited to see what they do as far as games up front with the defensive line. They have a bit of a different philosophy under Pettine than they did under Dom Capers. They're going to allow those interior guys a lot more what used to be called jet rushes. I don't know what terminology Mike Pettine uses. Who's winning the World Cup? I don't know, but after today, come on, England. Mexico was tough. Yes, it was. Meaning Rodgers' further responsibilities given the NFLPA and contract trend setting. Yeah, I don't doubt it. Is Dez going to sign anywhere? I think eventually, yeah. Probably in camp after injuries happen. Worried a bit about the right tackle situation. Jason, I discussed that at the beginning of the video, but I completely understand that. I think they're going to play all those guys early. You're going to see what they have in camp. Between Byron Bell, Kyle Murphy, Jason Spriggs, maybe even Pankey and or McCray, and see what shakes loose, because I keep saying it, I'll be very surprised if Bulaga is ready for week 1. Will Raji sign? Yes, Raji will sign. All right, everybody, I'm going to jump. Thank you so much for all the questions. I'm sorry if I couldn't get to yours. Make sure you're checking PackersNews.com for all the latest, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Thanks a lot.